Josh Green here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Xavier Miller. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, champ?
Yeah, very, very good. And as you've just been telling me, a very, very busy time in the gym. You've had a couple out over the weekend. Yousef Kamari makes his return this Saturday. Doesn't stop, does it, mate?
No, and obviously, congrats to Alfie Clegg a couple of weeks ago on the Dillian Whyte show. Black Box, he picked up the IBO Youth World title at flyweight. He just trained this morning, so we'll be looking at fighting for another belt probably around June, maybe June 8th. But yeah, buzzing at the moment in the gym. It's all going to plan so far.
Is this how you like it in the gym when you've got fight dates in the book every couple of weeks? They're all going through and getting wins on the record. Good for you, good for the fighters.
Yeah, I'll be honest. And this goes for most coaches, to be honest with you, just that people affiliate certain boxers with certain coaches and feel and don't realize that nearly every 9 times out of 10 coaches have a stable of fighters. Whether it's guys that are on TV, guys that are on small shows, guys that are just turning pro. A lot of times they've got like an amateur academy. Me and Nick, we've always liked a busy gym, and at the moment I think I've got about 6, 7 active pros, but I've got about 8 or 9 in the books. But that's what I like. I don't like just being in training camp with just one boxer. We've got a team. And we've got 3 or 4 good coaches here. So, I'm just always at my happiest, obviously, when I'm in my own gym. I love being involved in big fights, but there's nothing quite, building your own.
We saw Yousef Kamari just pop his head in and say hello. He makes his return this Saturday, just 6 days away now. Excited to see him back, and what are you expecting?
Definitely, this move up to lightweight, is past. It's way past the time that we should have really moved on. It was I think he should have moved up after the Kane Baker fight. He turned pro at 20, 27. You can't stay at the weight forever. It just gets harder and harder as your body matures. And I knew that it was going to catch up with him. We did speak about it, but he insisted that he could still make the weight. Because if you see Yousef, you know that he's a very big super featherweight. Yeah, he just didn't have. There was no energy at all in the Bellotti fight. There was nothing there. But now, his last performance, you can see, the spikes back in his punches. The energy levels are there. So I'm expecting a very, very good performance from Yousef on Saturday. And and then move forward. Looking at British titles and so on, and moving forward from there.
I was going to say, is the plan for him now to move back towards that sort of title picture and put himself in contention for those belts?
Yeah, definitely. I've been saying it since he turned pro. Yousef is one of the most skilled fighters that we have over in the UK. Anyone who's watched him, they know the level. He just needs to get a bit of luck, or just do a bit more to push it over the line. But he's he's there and thereabouts. But now it's time to show and prove. And he is the most skilled fighter that I've worked with. But I've had Yousef since he's about 15, 16 years old. So his style is based on the way that I used to box, and it's very difficult to teach that style. But when you get someone from that age and you get that amount of time with them, it's possible. It's not something that, a lot of guys have wanted to come to my gym because they've watched the way Yousef fights. So they've messaged me saying, I'd like to come and learn that style. But I'm saying to them that I can't do that. I don't have that kind of time to do that again. Do you know what I mean? I'm 51 now. So to build someone to fight that kind of style again, you need to be involved in boxing for about 15 years for me personally to be able to pull that kind of style off, because it is high risk. But if you get it right, it's great. And Yousef's still learning. It's a style you learn all the time doing it. So it is a Midwest style of boxing. It's not a UK style of boxing at all. So yeah, props to him. He's got the heart. He's got the hunger. He's got the skill set. We just need to make sure he gets over the line and start pushing forward his career.
I know when you last spoke to my colleague Eamon Khan, Kay Prosper was looking to get back in the ring. That's now in the book for later this month. Long overdue, some may say. Excited to see him back. And what are the sort of aims after so long away from the sport?
Yeah, I think, Kay is, insistent. He doesn't want to end his career on the Sandor Martin fight. I'm trying to say to Kay, you've overachieved. You won your English title in a very difficult matchup. You defended it in your hometown, and then you jump from English level to European to fight a world-class fighter in Sandor. I knew that at the time. I was getting a lot of backlash when Kay lost that fight, but I said, I know firsthand how good this guy is, and then look what he's gone on to do. So I said to Kay, no shame in that effort. He said, no, I can do better. And props to him. He had that same hunger when he came to my gym and wanted to fight for the English title. He said, no, I want to go after the champion. So I've got a lot of time, a lot of respect for Kay. If he looks anything like the Kay of old on the 23rd, he's going to be boxing on a Steve Goodwin show. He's back with Steve. If he does look like what he looked like before, then yes, we'll go forward, look for another big fight. If he doesn't and he looks like a shell of himself, I'll be the first one to tell him, leave it alone. It's honestly me. I'm very honest and brutal with my fighters because I don't want to see anybody get hurt. It's difficult to tell someone when to hang it up. It's the most difficult thing to say to a boxer because really, respectfully, it has to be their decision. But if he asked my opinion, I will tell him, on the 23rd whether let's go or call it a day.
Moving on to some big news that broke over the weekend regarding Dillian Whyte, cleared of any wrongdoing by a scientific report, and as far as we know, with that accepted by the Texas Athletic Commission. What was your reaction to the news regarding Dillian?
I'll be honest with you. When it first came out, I was in shock. I was with you. I was with Dillian for 2.5 years out in Portugal, and honestly, him and his team are so professional. Like, you can't touch anything without it being overseen by the team. Like, it's there was nothing in the whole time I was there to suggest that something like that could happen. That team is very professional, and Dillian, he's wanted that Joshua fight for so long. Why would you take that kind of gamble now when you finally got the fight you want? It didn't make any sense to me. Obviously, I'm not part of that team anymore. I haven't been since he had the Franklin fight. He's gone with Bunny McGirt. One of my favorite trainers. I think he's great. He was a great boxer as well. So I think it was a good link up. Dillian wanted to train over there, and I just can't believe this actually happened. But you know what? Listen, if he's been cleared to box now, that's great. We need Dillian back in the division. He's one of the big names in there. And obviously with this, with the influence in Saudi and so on, with all these big fights coming up right now, you've got Zhang, you've got Joyce, Parker, Wilder. There's so much options for him out there, and everybody would like to see him in with any of those guys because Dillian will always give you, a good fight. So I'm glad he's back, and honestly, praise to him, and hopefully, he can kick on with his career. He hasn't had it easy, and hopefully this will be the last blip, and hopefully he can just get on with his career now and just fight because he just likes to fight.
I think it's probably unclear at the moment whether he will be able to fight here on the UK shores, as it was by the Texas Athletic Commission he was cleared. Do you see him being able to get back into the sort of position he was in when he had that Joshua fight ready and waiting?
The strange thing about the heavyweight division is you're just one win away from a big fight. It just seems like the other divisions, you've got to work really hard to get back to where you were. But with the heavyweights, the guys in the top 10, it looks like they're all looking to fight each other now. So I think Dillian, if he wants to have a comeback fight, he can. If not, he can just jump straight in. Dillian doesn't take easy fights anyway. So, I think he can just jump straight back into the mix. I obviously, I don't know the full extent of what's exactly happening and, where he can fight and so on and so forth. But I'm just glad that he's back, and, he loves the sport, and, he knows the division inside and out. So I'm sure they'll be talking about some good matchups. Even Derek Chisora, the third fight. While I was in camp with him, it wasn't a fight that excited me at the time, but now it seems like that would kind of make a lot of sense. But good luck to Dillian, honestly. So Dillian's a good guy, a fun guy to be around.
Yeah, that heavyweight division is absolutely on fire at the moment, especially with what's going on out in Saudi. Of course, this weekend, the return of Anthony Joshua against Francis Ngannou. I mean, a matchup that's been analysed by so many people, and I think people's opinions have changed of Ngannou since the Tyson Fury fight. What? No, not yours.
No, I think it's a very easy win for Joshua. I've got a lot of respect for Ngannou because you've gone straight in there with arguably number one heavyweight. You know, I give that to Usyk personally, but Tyson is, you can say, either one or two, which is fine, which is fair. There's an argument for both, but I'm not sure how seriously Fury took that fight. So I've got Joshua beating him quite easily. Either mid to late round stoppage or clearly on points. And I don't even see the fight being competitive, to be honest with you. But, you know, we'll see.
Where do you see as Ngannou's level? What sort of level do you think he is if you sort of place him into the world boxing scene?
I don't think he beats any of the top guys, personally. I think the world we're living in now, I don't know, for some reason, you know, it's almost like you can entertain the idea of him being able to be competitive with these guys. But maybe the Fury fight was just a one-off. Maybe Fury was completely off, but I just can't see him beating any of the top 6, 7, 8 heavyweights. Honestly, I just can't see it. And these guys have spent their whole life in boxing in a division, and he's just coming into it. He shouldn't really be able to compete with those guys. You know, it's. I hate to say it, but you'd have to say that if he is, then in general, it's pretty weak division. A guy shouldn't be able to just come in and compete with the best heavyweights in the world, coming from a different discipline. Like, it shouldn't happen, but it has happened once, and maybe it's just a one-off. But we'll see. But yeah, I've got Joshua winning.
On the other sort of side of the heavyweight division, we've got Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury. We were hoping we'd have seen that by now. Of course, obviously pushed back due to the eye injury suffered by Tyson Fury. Does that change anything for you at all? Will he be able to get sufficient amount of sparring in? Do you think he'll be ready for the date that we've got locked in?
Oh yeah, definitely be ready. I mean, Fury's been at this for a long time, and he does like playing these games. Obviously, if you get cut in sparring, you get cut in sparring. It happens regularly. It does happen. I don't know if that footage was real, because I've heard that he does spar without a head guard, so he had a head guard on in this one. I'm not sure if that was orchestrated. I don't know. But yeah, he'll be ready. He'll be ready. I just don't think he's good enough to beat Oleksandr Usyk. I'm sorry. I just don't. I think Usyk is levels above anybody else in that division because of his background, because of his discipline, his experience, his amateur experience. You know, he's just on a different level to me. And I know he's a smaller heavyweight. So is Evander. You know, if you're good enough, you're big enough. And I just don't see anyone beating Usyk right now. And I think he'll beat Fury.
Since we last spoke to you, Deontay Wilder's taken the loss to Joseph Parker. Do you think he can slot himself back into this top table of the heavyweight division? And do you think we've seen the last of Wilder at that top level?
I think it's the other problem as well, is that I know some feel that, you know, some fighters don't have to be active to perform at their best. I mean, that only happens, only a handful of fighters can do that. Like, you know, for Sugar Ray Leonard to be out as long as he was and then go in there and beat Marvin Hagler. You know, Crawford seems to fight once a year. Floyd at one point in his career seemed to fight once a year. These are special fighters that can do this. But guys that are not fundamentally gifted or, you know, or as naturally talented, you know, you wouldn't say that Wilder wasn't talented. I think his timing of his right hand is a talent. But in terms of his boxing fundamentals, he's not. He needs to really be an active fighter. He hasn't been an active fighter. And I don't know if it's gone too far now. I don't know if he could get back to the glory days where he had that timing with that right hand. I mean, he just couldn't pull the trigger against Parker. And I think we take it for granted that these guys are getting older. I'm talking about this current block of heavyweights. They are getting older, and Father Time waits for no one. And some guys just peak or end at a particular time, and maybe it's just gone. You know, it took too long to make the Joshua fight. That's a fight we should have seen. Yeah, you can make it now, but it's not the same, is it? When you should have really had all these kind of fights. Even the Joseph Parker fight, that's a fight that probably should happen 4 years ago. So yeah, I think Wilder is, I like Wilder. I think he's been brilliant for the sport. Honestly, he's a lot of fun to watch. You listen to some of the things he says. He does make a lot of sense at times. He makes some good points. And you don't want to really see anybody get hurt in this sport. I don't want him to hang around too long till, he's one of those guys that you just fighting because of his name. But you never know. He might come back and then next minute he's not someone out in one round and Wilder's back. So it's hard to say with him. At least he does have a get out of jail card, but I just don't know if he can pull the trigger anymore.
Final thing for you. I know when we last spoke to you, you were doing a little bit of sparring and maybe keen to get back in the ring yourself. And a name you did mention was Mr. John Fury. Yes or no? Yes or no?
These lot in the gym are funny. I'll spar anybody. I'd spar anybody in and around my age. Honestly, it's fun for me. But yeah, I'd spar John Fury. That's no problem. That's not a problem. He seems to like a fight, so if he wants to do it, we can do it. But yeah, for me, it's all a bit of fun. But yeah, helps me stay reasonably in shape. I'm trying to drop a bit more weight at the moment. It's starting to come back a bit now. But yeah, at least I get to do bag work and some sparring and try and stay in reasonable shape for as long as I can. But yeah, it's all a bit of fun. All fun and games. I wouldn't mind doing it and putting the money towards charity or putting it back into my gym. Wouldn't mind at all.
No, good man. Really appreciate your time and your insight. And best of luck at the weekend and with everything going forward.
Thank you. Have a good day, brother. Take care.